Trade season heating up around the NFL. Can Joe Flacco save the Cincinnati Bengals and more from the Peacock and Williamson Week 6 mailbag right now?
NFL analyst Brian Peacock and former NFL scout Matt Williamson bring you expert NFL analysis every day in less than 30 minutes. Get an inside look at the NFL on the field and in the front office with elite breakdowns to next-level analysis and in-depth information only for the real NFL fans. This is Peacock and Williamson, and it starts now.
Welcome to the Peacock and Williamson NFL Show. Brian Peacock alongside Matt Williamson at BD Peacock at Williamson NFL. Those handles are where most of the questions came from on today's program. You can also drop a question on YouTube. Please subscribe while you're there. Appreciate all the everydayers that hang with us every week and got a lot of good questions in this week's mailbag episode, which is brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And right now on FanDuel, a very special offer for our listeners. New customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the FanDuel app. All right. Couple of trades, kind of big, but kind of minor. But I think there are significant trades, and there's multiple things you could take away from these trades that involved the Browns and the Bengals for quarterback Joe Flacco, and then there was the Chargers-Ravens trade as well. And Michael asked the question, is Cincinnati just rearranging the seats on the deck of the Titanic with this move for Joe Flacco, or do you think this is the right move for Cincinnati to try to salvage this season when they are still in second place in the AFC North?
All right, I want to break this trade down and talk about both sides. I guess we might as well start with the Bengals first. Actually, we should start with what Joe Flacco is first. I think he's so shot. He's been really bad. And so Michael Fabiano and I just did Locked On Dynasty, and we were talking about the impact and kind of came to the conclusion, well, for fantasy, it's probably better for Chase and Higgins because there's nowhere to go but up. But again, I think it's rearranging the deck on the chairs of the Titanic. I think the Bengals did this to send a positive vibe into the locker room. You know, like, we know this isn't working. We're at least going to make some kind of effort and bring in a veteran that's had success, that knows the division now really well. And, you know, at least it's a good message because I'm sure people are looking around like, the season's already over. And I bet that it's better, but not much. I mean, like, Fabs and I were talking about, like, EPA per play, QBR, any advanced quarterback metric. Right now there's like 44 qualifiers, and Browning's like consensus 42 or 43 out of 44. And Flacco's 44.
Yeah. Flacco hasn't performed better than Browning so far.
No.
But he is the veteran, 40 years old. He's
right.
Got a lot of time under his belt in the NFL. And it's a flip of a 5th and 6th round picks for the Bengals and the Browns. So if you're the Browns, no brainer. You're not going anywhere this year. And, you know, Flacco's a backup. And then now, you know, Shador can be the number 2. And you can go through that whole dance if you're the Cleveland Browns for the rest of the year with the rookie quarterbacks and see what you got. You're evaluating there.
I would talk more Browns, though, too. But
yeah. For the Bengals, I don't think Flacco is going to be the fix. But I like the message. I think you have to do something.
Yeah.
The thing that and I had we did a whole segment or two on this on Locked On 49ers because, you know, the 49ers, I think, are going to be shopping for an edge rusher at 4-1. And Trey Hendrickson is the biggest name that comes up if you're trying to trade 1-for-1 and someone to replace Nick for the rest of the year. Trey Hendrickson is going to be the top name that comes up with the direction the Bengals season are going. And so my take was, well, at least for now, and again, a lot can change in a month until the trade deadline on November 4th, I think it is, after week 9. For now, Trey Hendrickson's not available because you don't go spending draft pick assets if you're about to have a fire sale. So the Cincinnati Bengals, for now, are giving it the old college try. And I think that's a good message. I think it's the right way to play it. You can't tank after 5 weeks of the NFL season. And you're only, you know, what, a game and a half out of first place, 2 games. I don't know. The 2 and 3.
You're in striking distance. Yeah.
You're in 2 and 3. And the team was so bad that if you're a coach, you're probably trying to save your job a little bit, even though you have a built-in excuse with Joe Burrow too. But you were a non-functional offense. The Bengals
Right.
essentially, they had a little gasp at the end of the last game and some garbage time, and it was nice to see Chase get in the end zone a little bit. But the week before, the Bengals mustered 3 points, and they didn't want the football. They're like, "Oh, thanks for the ball, but no, it's cool. You guys can have the ball back." We don't need it. That was the Bengals offense. So you got to do something. Will it look better with Flacco? Possibly. He's a veteran. In the end, will it matter? I don't think it will for the Bengals, because I think it's not just Burrow, even though that is a massive piece to this whole thing. And obviously, Flacco's not going to give them what Burrow did either. So in the end, they might still be sellers at the trade deadline. Who knows? But for now, the message is we're still trying to salvage this thing and win some games. We're only in second place. So let's keep going, and we'll see.
So I remember like 2 weeks ago, I proposed to you, should the Bengals just trade Hendrickson now and jump ship, or should they trade for Russell Wilson is the name I threw out, or Winston, or, and I've regurgitated ever since your answer because I loved it. It was do both. Give nothing up for Wilson now and see how it goes, and then trade Hendrickson at the trade deadline if you still stink. You can still do both, and this should have happened 2 weeks ago, not now, too.
Right, and in the end, you might get a third instead of a second for
maybe
Henderson, but you had to kind of go for it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, just sending the message, I think, is what this is all about. You have to try something different. It's probably going to be better, despite the how poorly Flacco's played. He'll at least put the ball up for Higgins to go high point at one-on-one. I think he can drive the ball down the field better. He's more gifted. He's better on the block at least, but he's gonna get killed in that pocket.
I think Jamar Chase owners are happy though.
Yeah, that's what we both said. Like
they'll chuck it up to him at least, and you salvage a couple more of those games where
he's aggressive.
You have to throw a lot from behind, and then you end up with a couple of fantasy points for your guy you might have drafted number 1 overall in your fantasy league.
Talk Browns, or should we?
Yeah, let's talk Browns a little bit. From there, and to be honest with you, I think the Browns got more than I would have expected.
I thought the same.
Like a 6th, 7th round pick swap, like a basically nothing, and they gave up a little bit. Fifth round to 6th round is not a nothing trade. It's a little bit to give up, although they still have the same amount of draft picks.
And it's probably an early 6th for an early 5th when it's all said and done too.
Right.
Okay, and which is more than I would expect it too for the guy that age that's playing as poorly as any starter in the league. But I do think there's 2 interesting takes now. First of all, who's the adult in the quarterback room? Like 2. Have we ever had 2 rookies be the only quarterbacks? We used to have 5 quarterbacks here. Now we have 2, and they're both have never played. They have 1 career start between the 2 of them. I mean, it just seems volatile and weird. And I don't want to spread this rumor because I don't know if it's true or not. But a light bulb went in my head when I heard this trade, thinking, might we see Deshaun Watson this year?
I've just filed Deshaun Watson away.
Me too.
I don't even know what his status is. I just think he's.
I don't know if he's invited to the facility. I mean,
no clue. No idea. I think we got to talk to Spencer German, the host of Locked On Browns, to find out the.
But I bet we see somebody else. I bet Gabriel's not the only starter the rest of the year.
They got to have a third quarterback and not just 2 rookies. And you do
they have Bailey Zappi on the practice squad.
Zappy, yeah, you do want to. And speaking of Zappy, so I got this as well that we can throw in from Sport Track, the updated Browns 2025 quarterback cap hits.
Oh, I just retweeted that. I saw it a minute ago. That's hilarious.
One of our listeners said, "Is this the new Browns quarterback jersey?" So this is just this year's cap hits. Deshaun Watson counts 35.9 million. He's on the PUP list. So, I guess you could start bringing guys off the PUP list. So, Deshaun Watson could come back, I guess. Jameis Winston.
I don't know. It's crazy.
Jameis Winston counts 2.2 million dead money. Dylan Gabriel, active, $1 million, 1.1 million. Flacco, dead money this year is just under $1 million, and then he's going to have dead money next year of 1.4, counting against Cleveland's cap. So, Flacco will still be on next year's Cleveland cap. You got Shedeur Sanders, just under $1 million, 5th round pick money. Bailey Zappi, practice squad. Still $100K of dead money for Demetrius Thompson Robinson. And then Kenny Pickett counting for $8,000 of dead money as well, which is nothing. But they're paying. There's 8 quarterbacks on their cap for 2025, and some of them are still going to be on the cap for 2026 as well that aren't going to be on the roster.
So I do this huge stat packet, Matt Stats, for all the Steeler games, upcoming opponents, and the Browns are coming to town this week. So I had this one handy too. I mean, and I believe Sanders is going to add another name to this list at some point this year. I bet Shedeur starts. There's no doubt in my mind.
99% chance.
Yes. I'm not sure how it'll happen, but he will start a game between now and the final buzzer of the season. So last Sunday, Dylan Gabriel became the Browns' 10th different starting quarterback since Baker Mayfield. That's kind of insane to me. That wasn't that long ago.
And I think 21, 22
when they made the Watson trade.
When Baker Mayfield made his last start.
Okay.
Right?
And then this is the number everybody kind of pays attention to is Gabriel became the Browns' 41st starter since they re-entered the NFL in 1999. That's 11 more than any other team.
Then the next most.
The next most is 30. Since 1999, they're on 41.
25 years. That's crazy. And do you know how many like the Steelers have had? Because they haven't had very many.
I know like the Packers are the best.
Yeah. The Packers have had 4.
Because somebody tweeted me, it's actually pretty funny. I tweeted out that first one about since Mayfield, the last 10 starters. And somebody tweeted me out the 10th most recent starter for Green Bay was Don Majkowski.
The Magic Man.
And Gabriel's the 10th. They go back 10 since Baker Mayfield. And they go back to right before Favre when I was 10.
Unbelievable. Early 90s.
Yeah.
Wow. There you go. The Cleveland Browns, the carousel still turns there. Let's talk.
It might be turning faster than ever now. We might get Watson, Sanders, Flacco. How many starters are we going to get this year?
That's true. And then next year, they're going to draft high.
Another one coming. Right. Just keep adding.
Another one or two. Maybe another stopgap. Who knows? The Bengals are still in it. They're trying.
Yeah.
Are the Baltimore Ravens lying down already after 5 weeks of the NFL season with their latest trade? And a lot more from the Peacock and Williamson mailbag next. This episode of Peacock and Williamson is brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. NFL season rolling along into week 6 now, and FanDuel has an offer you do not want to miss. And I don't know how long this offer is going to be around. It's the best offer that FanDuel has given out in the 8 years that I've been doing the podcast on this network, and FanDuel has been with us just about the entire time. And right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5. If it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Tons of lines for week 6 and all the way through week 18 that you can find at FanDuel for NFL games, college games. We got playoff baseball. We got NHL and NBA season starting up as well. So now is a great time to join. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Weekly lines, so many ways to play. Parlays, build your own parlays, player props, live in-game betting, and more. Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. So talk to me about this Ravens trade. And I'm glad I get to talk to you about some of these because you do so much work in the AFC North. You know these teams so well, and you know how these teams have operated for years. And 3 of the 4 teams involved in the trades on Tuesday, Odafe Owe, pass rusher, going to the Los Angeles Chargers. And the Chargers send a safety, starting safety, but not a high-level impact player, is going to the Baltimore Ravens in this deal with some draft picks as well. And I believe it is a 5th going to Baltimore and then a 7th coming back in 2027 as well with Owe to the Chargers. So talk to me about this trade. And if the Bengals are realizing, or if the Bengals still think they're in it, are the Ravens realizing they're not in it? Because they're trading away a player at a position they might need the most. Like they have no pass rush, and they're trading away a pass rusher, even though he doesn't have a sack yet this year. He had 10 last year.
It just seems like some AFC North funny business going on here. I mean, a quarterback gets traded within the division to start. Weird.
That's rarity. Yes.
That's Joe's third team in the division. And oh, by the way, I recruited him to Pitt, which shares a facility with the Steelers. So he is reported to all 4 facilities in his life, too. Throw that one out there. Then the brothers make a trade, which a couple of my buddies are like, this is like when the 2 best friends in your fantasy league you get in cahoots and make a deal. You know, like this that's like what's going on here.
The part owner of the Raiders calling games and like, information sitting with the coaches of teams that play against the Raiders kind of thing.
A little shady. Mm-hmm. And as you mentioned, so the other thing I don't think that the small little thing that happened since we got together yesterday, it was the Ravens signed Chauncey Gardner, you know, another defensive back, safety slot. And then they trade for another safety after drafting one in the first round and having Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah.
Are these defensive back injuries a lot worse than we thought? We thought they were all short-term, come back after the bye with Lamar or guns a-blazing. But Trey Noe is the weirdest part because I think he's probably still their best pass rusher. I mean, Van Noy's been out. I mean, they don't have a great pass rusher. They don't have a good pass rush. And the Chargers could definitely use him, you know, Mac injury, and I think he'll help them. And I don't think Harbaugh would have traded from the other Harbaugh if they hated Oweh. Like, I don't think he's in the doghouse or anything. And there's all kinds of Ravens and defensive coordinator overlap, and they all know each other. I mean, a lot of nepotism going on there or whatever between these organizations, as they should. It's fine with me. But I just wonder, I can't imagine the Ravens are punting on the season. Are they about to land Hendrickson from within the division? Or
why not? Division circle. Let's keep going inside the division here and see if
Jalen Phillips from the is there another shoe to drop? There's no way they should be depleting their front.
Wait a second. Is the rest of the North colluding against the Steelers? And
I'm starting to think, dude.
One healthy team to take on the Steelers this year.
It takes 3 of you to take down my guys. You know, right?
Maybe it's just clearly. I think that because the Ravens need pass rush, and they're not going to lay down yet. You know,
no way.
So it's not that at all, and they value maybe the defensive secondary more than a lot of other teams, and they're just realizing, well, look, you got no sacks. We just want to give those snaps to Mike Green and whoever else anyway. I
get that part.
Yeah. We're not going to re-sign you.
Is a free agent after the year. Yeah.
Yeah. So that side of it makes sense, but man, the Ravens need pass rush. So yeah,
yes,
they might be another team that's doing both selling and shopping at the same time. So we'll see if they add another
riding that fence,
as well on the defensive front now.
I just thought it was noteworthy. There's a lot of weird AFC North Harbaugh funny business going on.
There's a lot of team business going on. Speaking of coaches, is Aaron Glenn going to be one and done with the New York Jets? The Jets, the only team that has not won a game. Even the Titans won a stinking football game, Matt. Jared wants to know, one and done with Aaron Glenn and the New York Jets. And by the way, I want to put a tweet out there that I ran across from Robert Saleh's brother, David Saleh. And this one made me chuckle a little bit, Matt, because obviously a guy sticking up for his brother. And if you weren't sure, you look at his Twitter handle, he's got the same dome as his brother. So they're definitely related. He said, but what I love about this is he tags Woody Johnson in it. This is from awesome. Robert Saleh's brother. He says, last year the Jets were 2-3, playing for first place in their division. Woody Johnson declared that, quote, the best roster in franchise history needed a start, end quote. Since then, the Jets defense has gone from first to worst, donning a record of 3-14. Hashtag all gas, no brakes. So there you go. Rob Saleh's brother checking in is like, how'd that go? Firing my brother. Hey, it's gone well for the 49ers. The 49ers defense they're
happy about it.
A lot better this year, even losing Nick Bosa, especially the run defense side of things. And things not going great for Aaron Glenn and the New York Jets. And it's just kind of a yearly thing with the Jets. They can't figure it out. They can't get it right no matter who the coach is.
Yeah, and I think there's a little to unpack here too. I mean, by no means do I agree with Woody Johnson, who's amongst the worst owners in the league, clearly, that this is the most talented Jets team ever or anything like that. But where I will kind of back him is by no means is it the least talented roster in the league either. I mean, probably not even bottom 7 or 8, you know?
Yeah, he should have wanted more last year. Yeah. And he should definitely want a lot more this year. But, you know, I don't like the one and done thing because what's the why are you making changes? You think that you're going to bring in a guy who's never head coached in the NFL and all of a sudden the team's going to be 5-0 instead of 0-5?
I know. I hate it too, but I think there's a really good chance it happens. I mean, to back to the question. I mean, the defense should not be the worst in the league.
It's tough. The curse of Justin Fields. What's Justin Fields' record as a starter in the NFL, by the way?
The one thing I do know is anytime that his defense has allowed 20 or more points, 20, he's lost. Every time. It's like 0-20 too. I mean, it's brutal. And he's not the only problem.
No.
By any means. I mean, it's a really poorly coached team, both sides of the ball. They make a ton of errors. Talent's not that bad.
That's the team I'm calling if I'm trying to poach away some defensive players, by the way, too.
Yeah. Or maybe
maybe a team that tries to sell one of these guys.
There's a lot of teams I think you could get. Could you get like Max Crosby or
Crosby would be tough, but you know what I was thinking about is Jeffrey Simmons.
I would say Simmons' name I would throw out there. Quinnen Williams. I mean, like there's a lot of big names I bet you could pry away.
I think most of these teams would not think about that. You know, baseball and football is a little different as far as the trade deadline goes. And, you know, we get really big eyes and think about what the trade deadline could be. It's very rare for those type of moves to happen. They can happen, but, you know, cornerstone players like that, you look at those players, if you're a franchise, and you're like, well, we're going to build around that guy next year when we are good anyway. So just because we're bad now doesn't mean we can't be good later. And we're going to need that level of player. And so let's say you're the Titans, like, okay, what are we going to get? A late first round pick from a good team, and then you draft a player that you hope could be as good as Jeffrey Simmons. Just keep Jeffrey Simmons. It's not like you're paying anybody else anyway.
And he's still young, and he has 2 years on his contract, from what I understand. And
Max Crosby still has plenty of years left, so I don't see any of those.
Create another need.
Yeah, but a guy like Owe, who was a high pick, isn't a franchise-changing player that might not be in your long-term plans. I think we could see some of those players be traded from some of these teams with not a lot of wins right now. And I think there's a lot of teams that need to start looking ahead. It's a little early, I know, and it was too early for the Bengals to start looking ahead, but it's about that time for some of those teams. Ravens, it's not quite that team. I think there's still some hope, but man, there's a lot wrong with that defense. Adding a borderline starting caliber safety is not going to save the Ravens. That's
no. I don't know. I am a little. I'm guilty of what you just said, though. I am a little wide-eyed about this trade deadline. Like I just think there's 6 or 7 teams that suck. You know, the Raiders, the Dolphins. I mean, Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, Minka. I mean, you know, why not trade them? I mean,
certainly they're going to be getting phone calls.
Yeah.
And we'll see. A lot of times the hang-up is the team that's selling. Are they ready to declare defeat? And usually there's a lot more to it, and you're going to see coaches fired. And Aaron Glenn, if he is one and done, is not going to be the only coach fired this season. There's going to be a lot of candidates for that as well. And who's going to be the first one? I don't know. Brian Schottenheimer got to win, so he saved himself, even though I think he was probably the leader in the clubhouse. It might be Mike McDaniels now.
Yeah, he's making a pretty strong case.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it'll be Glenn. I think Glenn will last the season, but I don't know if he'll be back next year.
Yes. We got a lot more next. A lot of quarterback questions about Mac Jones, Kyler Murray, and a whole lot more from the Peacock and Williamson mailbag.
I'm Cody Rourke from Locked On Broncos, and this episode is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. This is Peloton's most advanced equipment yet, giving you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or you're cross-training with your favorite instructors like Alex Toussaint. It's training reimagined to make your workout more personal. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with features that help you plan, stay motivated, and hit peak performance. You can let yourself run, lift, flex, and go while Peloton handles all the rest. Plus, Peloton IQ provides real-time strength coaching, tracking your progress and suggesting weights that challenge you so you can get stronger. Plus, the new movement tracking camera, it counts your reps and corrects your form in real time, making sure every rep is safer and smarter. So let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
All right, Matt, more from the Peacock and Williamson mailbag here. I get a lot of questions about Mac Jones, so I want to address it.
Yeah,
shortly,
hit it.
But I want to hear from your perspective, from the outside, seeing how, well Mac Jones has played. The 49ers able to win some football games here at 4-1, despite the ridiculous list of injuries that they're dealing with, particularly on the offensive side of the ball. And they've won enough games where I think they're going to be one of those teams calling some of those other teams to try to potentially add one of these edge rushers to replace Nick Bosa, because you're in it and you got to go for it. And that's how the 49ers have been. I think that's what they will do this year. But the questions here are about Mac Jones here. And one of the questions is,
he's a free agent after the year, right?
This was a masterful move by the 49ers, because unlike the Darnold deal and some others, they actually got him on a 2-year deal, which is really cheap. So
that's dynamite.
And that's kind of where we're going with these questions here too, is because I do think there's a good chance that Mac Jones is not a backup quarterback for the 49ers next year. Not because he's the starter, but because he's on another.
I agree.
And he might have rehabbed that image enough to at least be a stopgap somewhere. The question is, does a team offer the 49ers enough that they see the value? Because right now he's been super valuable as a backup. So I think you would have to pay a decent amount to get him away from the 49ers to make them think that that's more valuable, the draft pick in 2027, than having the backup quarterback that they've absolutely needed this year. So one question is from Michael: is Mac better than Purdy? That's still a no. It's Brock Purdy's team. I know that's kind of the big thing I want to get out there. Everyone's like, oh, Mac is better and Purdy, and could you trade Purdy instead of Mac? It's Brock Purdy's team, period.
Yeah.
I think he's going to play. He's the starter. Mac's the backup, period. End of story. That's it.
Yeah.
But Mr. Grinch says, assuming Mac Jones isn't traded during the season and very few viable quarterback prospects coming out of college, what do you think is a fair trade offer would be for Mac Jones in the offseason? So that's the one I want to put toward you, Matt. And I kind of disagree. I think there's going to be plenty of quarterback prospects.
We'll see, but people aren't as rosy about it as they were before the college season started. But
and so we'll see. I'm sure there'll be a couple of quarterbacks worthy of going, high in the first round, as there usually are. What would you trade for Mac Jones right now if you were a team that needed a quarterback, and probably a team that ran, half the teams in the league do run a Mick Shanahan system?
To reiterate a lot of what you said, I think it goes something like this. I think the Niners make some kind of trade this week, next week, whatever. I don't know, maybe Max Crosby, but I mean, some kind of edge rusher that costs a decent pick, something good. And they add that, they make a run. And then in the offseason, you shop Mac a little bit. And a team like the Jets we just talked about that plans on drafting one, gives you maybe a conditional fourth that turns into a third, or just a third straight up. And they use their first round pick on a guy and go from there. And if I'm the Niners, I think that's kind of good. I mean, the pick you sent for Jalen Phillips, you get back for Mac Jones, give or take,
Right. Yeah. That makes a ton of sense. Maybe like a comp third, one of those late third round picks.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of 49ers fans that are, again, talking about trade deadline and trades and getting big eyes. Like, what if a team's offering a first or a second round pick? I don't think that's coming for Mac Jones.
No.
But could you get a third round pick? And could that make you feel better about the third round pick you're about to give up for somebody else's pass rusher?
Yeah, right.
Deadline.
And you keep Mac for the rest of the year in case you need him, I think that's the best way to handle it.
Absolutely. And then you figure out a backup situation. Maybe you end up bringing in Justin Fields and completing the circle of the 2021 draft class for the 49ers there, or Tua, or Bryce Young. I mean, who's going to go into the Kyle Shanahan car wash next? There's a lot of candidates.
They should be getting in line is the thing. Right. Lance should want to come back and, right.
Mac Jones is like, I don't want to compete for a starting job. I'd rather be a for sure backup under Shanahan right now and be the next Darnold or Baker Mayfield. That's what Mac Jones is hoping his career is. And I think those guys have helped a guy like Mac Jones be like, look, I was a first round pick. I was good until I got the worst coaching you could possibly get. I had a defensive coordinator calling plays for me. Now I got one of the better offensive coordinators in the league. And look, I'm a good football player. So come get me. And I'm sure Mac Jones would want to start. And I don't know if the 49ers would stand in the way as long as they get the right. I don't think it would be worth a 5th round pick. So you would have to come with probably something if Mac Jones continues to play well, because
And maybe
And
it's
the 49ers
conditional,
needed backup quarterbacks in the past too, so they value that position.
And as you kind of mentioned, if you're the Niners, like, okay, we'll lose Mac Jones for a fourth that could turn into a three if he plays X amount of snaps. Because I got 5 guys that were all drafted as high or higher than Mac Jones that are banging to come to my facility to rehab their careers.
Right.
Exactly. Anthony Richardson wants to come, and right, well, right.
Yeah, Anthony Richardson.
Lance would keeps wanting to come home, and right.
Lance comes back. Yeah. The 2021 draft will just never go away. So that's why I expect Fields to be the next one. Just
I love it.
Filtered through there, although he doesn't fit the style for Kyle Shanahan. Like Kyle Shanahan wants the ball out quick, and that's what's really dogged Justin Fields.
Oh,
like,
brutal.
Man, can you just throw with a little anticipation, get the ball out of your hands? You might have something because he's a really talented guy. I don't know what to think about Anthony Richardson. I mean, he hasn't played enough.
I think he'll be on another team.
He's more like Trey Lance, where it's like, go play somewhere.
He'll be a Ram or a Viking or some good organization's backup, and maybe 2 years from now he started again, and everyone's psyched about him again.
Exactly. One more here, just a couple of rapid fire. We're out of time. Michael has multiple questions. He asked about Mac and Purdy. We answered that one. He says, is it time to admit, and we can go rapid fire here on a couple of these, is it time to admit Kyler just isn't good?
No, I think it's time to admit he's just average.
Yeah, he's not bad. He might be one of those guys that has to go through a rehab at some point. And the Cardinals is like, you've seen the same thing for so long for the Cardinals. You got to just do something different at some point.
I did a Steelers podcast just naming all the teams that could be in the quarterback market. They were one that I don't think is outlandish to think it's time for a change. And I'll be honest, this sounds terrible, but I've gotten very prejudiced against very little quarterbacks. Part of that was when Russell Wilson was here, watching Bryce Young, Kyler. None of these guys throw over the middle. They can't see.
Yeah, there's a reason. And you can't play from outside the pocket all that much.
Yeah.
Unless you're just a freak athlete. But even then,
which he was when he was the first overall pick, and now you're a good athlete. But
as far as do it that much. He doesn't play make in a way that you're like, oh my God, like I wouldn't even be that excited about. Look at all this talent that Kyler Murray has.
No, I don't look at him like, boy, that guy was a top 6 pick in the MLB draft and the top, like the best player in Texas high school history. Like he doesn't look like that at all anymore.
Darnold, long term in Seattle, like that's a marriage.
I think Daniel Jones too. I think those guys are going to be locked up and be there for a while.
Daniel Jones ones is really interesting. Is he on that level now with Darnold and Baker Mayfield? Michael wants to know what's Baker's ceiling. Well, Baker's ceiling is he's the MVP right now. If you voted today, that's the ceiling. Yeah.
Super Bowl champ, MVP, top 7 quarterback is his ceiling. That's pretty darn good.
That's pretty awesome. Absolutely. Yeah. Did it not look? This is the last one from Michael. Did it not look like Spencer Rattler was a much better quarterback than Jackson Dart Sunday?
Yes. I don't think he's as gifted, but I think he's further along in his development, and I think Rattler's an average quarterback right now.
Pleasant surprise, Spencer Rattler. What he's given the Saints so far this year. He has looked pretty good. I would take Dart rest of career over Rattler rest of career. Me too.
But I don't think it's insane to throw out there that the Saints end up with the 5th overall pick, and the organization that hasn't drafted a quarterback in the first round since Archie Manning decides to take the best defensive end in the draft and run it back for Rattler and maybe see where Arch lands a year from now, Yep.
Especially after they trade, Cam Jordan or Carl Granderson at the deadline too.
There you go.
They're going to need to replace that defensive end that they trade. Saints are definitely another team that you're calling if you're a team.
Kamara.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's another player. But the Saints never do the thing. It's kind of like the Bengals. Like the Bengals are going to end up sucking and not trading anybody, just like the Saints. Like that's what I expect to happen because those two organizations, I personally never see eye to eye, and I think you feel the same way, man.
Oh, no doubt. And some of these organizations, those are two of the best ones. Their mirror is broke. Like they look in the mirror and they don't see the same thing everybody else does.
Yeah. And they also have both of those organizations, which is not the way I think the organization should be run, is they have this weird president GM guy who just has like a lifetime contract.
There's a czar. And
right.
He's also in charge of the Pelicans.
Yeah.
Not even like a football guy. Right.
Thanks for all your questions. Apologies to the ones we did not get to. Always get some fantastic questions. Let us know if you have any for next week at BD Peacock at Williamson NFL in the YouTube comments. Subscribe while you're there. Matt and I back tomorrow. It's time to open up our 6-pack of picks for week 6. Talk to you then right here. Peacock and Williamson.